Good afternoon. Thank you for being here. And all indications are that there's going to be a snowstorm in the state of Rhode Island. So we're convening our, everybody in the state in terms of leadership to kind of weigh through what that's going to look like and what the decisions that we're going to make. So again, the thing that we are most focused on is the timing of the storm, which is really talking about heavy snowfall beginning around 9 in the morning through the early afternoon. So that's right in the time frames where we have to be very concerned about traffic on our roads and our highways. So altogether, we're expecting anywhere from 3 to 14 inches of snow, depending on what area of the state you're living in. Because of that timing, the storm will have a major impact on Tuesday morning commute and throughout most of the day. Our message to Rhode Island is to prepare now, anticipating that there will be travel restrictions. So we'll keep you posted on whether those final decisions are made. But prepare now, for the rest of the day. We know the routine, making sure that you got batteries, make sure you have radios. We have the Rhode Island Energy here that can speak to some of the anticipation in terms of potential outages and all the things that come with a snowstorm. So right now we are coordinating with Massachusetts and nearby states. I've been in contact with both Governor Healy and Governor Lamont in Connecticut, and we're comparing notes right now. We're looking at another National Weather Service update at 2 o'clock today. So it's kind of a moment by moment in terms of how we respond at the moment. But DOT crews are, certainly ready for duty 3 hours ahead of the storm to pre-treat the roads. Again, 450 plows available, 60 tons of salt, and we're ready for the storm when it comes. And Rhode Island Energy this morning, they're bringing in an additional 75 line crews from out of state. We thank them for that. They're also bringing in over an additional 80 additional forestry teams to help with downed trees. Rhode Island Emergency Management is in communication with local emergency management agencies across the state to ensure communities have the necessary support in place. I know that they had a conversation right after we had our all-in-government meeting this morning. So you can visit riema.ri.gov for a list of local warming centers. The Department of Housing is activating their emergency pop-up shelters. Our Secretary Pryor is here to answer any questions you may have as well. Details will be posted at the riema.ri.gov. And a number of, one goal again, as always, is safety, making sure that we're safe. So we're asking families to prepare now, people in the state to prepare now. Again, at the moment, is stay off the roads when the snow comes our way until there's further notice if there's any further restrictions on that. With that, we'll take questions of anybody that's here. I'll be happy to coordinate that. Yes.
So with travel already difficult on the Washington Bridge, are you taking extra precautions to keep that clear?
Yes, I mean that's clear. It's a question that we've been talking about to making sure that we put extra resources there because of the circumstances, and that'll be done.
Where's the snow going to go when you go to clear it? Is there anywhere to put it?
We're going to make sure that we have the equipment there to make sure that is clear, and I think the plowing will work, but also we'll have to make sure that we have the equipment there and to make sure that we're keeping that as clear as possible.
Do you have extra equipment that you will be keeping there just for that bridge?
Yeah, just right now we have extra detail there. I know yesterday there was a breakdown vehicle. We had a tow truck there very quickly, and so yeah, that's front and center, obviously. But all our roads are. This is a statewide issue, as the director pointed out in our meeting this morning, that we need to be focused on it as a statewide issue and not any one particular area. But in construction areas or areas that are like the Washington Bridge, we have to pay special attention to.
Governor, in terms of the Washington Bridge traffic and that now you're going to have all of this snowfall, what kind of commute are you anticipating for people in the morning? How much longer is it going to take for them to get to where they're going? Perhaps Director Alvini could comment too.
Yeah, so, I mean, the decision has not been made whether, what the scope of a travel ban would be. We'll be making that later this afternoon based on the updated weather conditions. And so, yes, we know that two things impact, no, three things, obviously, the shutdown of the westbound bridge, bringing it into 2 lanes, both going east and west. We know that that has restricted traffic and it created additional travel times. The other things which you can't predict are weather, and that's what you're talking about right now with the storm. And you can't predict, accidents or abandoned vehicles, but we're doing everything we can to anticipate that and be prepared with staffing and with equipment, as you mentioned, to address that.
So there could be a full travel ban.
Yeah, we're going to be making that decision very shortly. We're in, like I mentioned in my comments, I'm in contact with Governor Healy, Governor Lamont. We share routes that go through our states, and we're trying to coordinate what makes sense, and we'll have those decisions. Our goal is to have those decisions made by around 3 o'clock today.
Sheena, my question's for the Education Commissioner.
Yep.
With a forecast like this, what is the messaging for all the districts? And also, if the decision is made for virtual learning, can you give us an update on how that's been going so far?
So all of the districts are making local decisions at this point right now. So far, we know Providence has already called a day. There's a parking ban in the city, so they have already made that decision. And all the districts that already have virtual plans in may choose to have a virtual day. It all depends on what happens later on in the afternoon. But many of them have already been making decisions and notifying parents.
Is there a timeline usually that people can expect? I know parents are just trying to plan ahead right now.
So the districts are doing it at different points. It all depends on what happens statewide. So if there is a decision of something taking place statewide, obviously that will supersede any of the local decisions. But some districts may do virtual, some districts may choose to make up the day, or some districts may just call it a day altogether. It'll all depend. We will have a listing of that by the end of the day.
Can you confidently say virtual learning has been a good option throughout the last 2 years? 3 years?
Well, we all know in person is better. That's our preference. That's what we want for all of our kids. Some districts might choose to do that, but we do know that in person is better. It will all depend on what they feel their individual needs are.
My question is about the messaging on this. It looks to me that the time, am I saying the timing is that it'll start probably with rain around 5 a.m. and then change to all snow by about 9 a.m. Historically, with that sort of timing sequence, people tend to get up in the morning, look out the window and say, oh, it's not so bad, I'll go to work or whatever. Do you have any advice specifically on that, and what will you be telling, say, state employees in terms of working from home and making that suggestion? Obviously, if there's a travel ban enforced, then that would be different.
Yeah, timing on it, as I mentioned, is critical for us to be making that decision. We expect to be making that before the end of the workday today in terms of what type of restrictions we would put in, if any. But as you mentioned, a 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock is about as bad of a timing as you can get for a storm, when you figure that people could get into wherever they're going early in the morning, but then in the afternoon, when it's time to go home or back to where they came from, the circumstances could be very different. I did live through the blizzard of '78. People did go to work in the morning, and I was just talking about it this morning. I had family members that had trouble get back home. So we want to be safe. So that's where the decision on safety comes in.
Well, we certainly are not going to repeat the blizzard of '78 here, but people make decisions based on looking out the window, and what's your advice to them?
Yeah, the advice is to follow our advice, and with the advice that's coming from the directors, especially Mark Pappas, our emergency management director. He's going to have a great deal to say about this. And then in terms of the traveling, DOT is going to be really focused on that. So I think we'll have an all-in message, but right now the message is that snow is coming, and any interpretation of the weather forecast, snow's coming. And we're going to be making the decisions to keep people safe and having that in a timely way, as you're saying. We're not looking for people to get up in the morning and travel and then find out that they have to go back into a very dangerous situation that could create danger for others, right? So traffic issues are important, and those travel arrangements that we'll be making. Again, it's important that we're coordinating it with the governor in Massachusetts and the governor in Connecticut, and we're in communications with them.
I've talked to some businesses in Providence and East Providence. They're very worried about losing business on Valentine's Day, which is on Wednesday, because of, obviously the bridge construction as well as the snowstorm. What's your message to them? Are you confident that the snow will be out of the way as soon as possible and that the roads will be cleared so that businesses aren't affected?
Yeah, so our anticipation right now is that the snow will end around 5 o'clock. We'll be working around the clock with the 400 and some odd plows to make sure that we're clearing the streets so that ideally we'd be open for business the next day, bright and early. And also we're working with the municipal leaders as well. So the municipalities will have a great deal to do with the way that transportation happens inside of that community. So we're going to try to do our part on the state level, coordinate with the municipal level, so these businesses can have a good Valentine's Day.
All right, thank you guys.
Have you communicated with RIPTA at all about their plans for tomorrow?
We have, but they're still waiting on, the director was on our call with about 55 people this morning. When you bring this whole team together, it's a large group. And they did mention that they are waiting on our advice, and so that they would signal out when that time comes, which should be coming very shortly. All right? Thank you for being here, by the way.